this is just how it should be, right?
Yeah, this is pretty legit.
This is pretty legit. Like, you can't get in a better area to talk about superheroes than what we are in right now. This is the ultimate version of a superhero man cave, guys. And Joe, I am excited to talk more Avengers because, you know, we've not really talked about it enough for the last week. And
True.
I've seen it, what, 4 or 5 times now?
Yeah. More than me.
It's a little ridiculous.
I digress.
But Joe, what do you want to talk about today, man? Why are we here?
Well, I think honestly we need to talk about probably the cliffhanger of Infinity War, the ending that everyone is talking about. Because I have heard a lot of mixed reviews about people coming out of the theater and they're like, why did that happen?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and obviously it's people that haven't, and I've harped on this for the past few weeks, they haven't read the comics.
Yeah.
So they don't understand really what's going on and what needs to happen in part 2. So understanding the ending is probably going to be one of the most critical parts for you. If you've never read the comic book, you're going to be so lost and you're not going to understand truly what's going on. But in the comic books, there is a moment when Thanos gets the last stone and he does the infamous finger snap. And when he does that, in the comics, 50% of the universe dies. Now that doesn't mean that everybody is dead. That means that at that moment, in space and time, they are non-existent. Does that make sense?
That makes plenty of sense. And my big problem with other people's problems, and it's, you know, everything is subjective. That's how filmmaking and movie making is. But people saying that this movie doesn't have a beginning, a middle, and an end, to me, I look at that critique and I say, well, if you look at it from the point of view of the villain, and we've never really seen this before in a superhero movie, Thanos has a beginning, a middle, and that final shot in the film is the end of his story arc for that specific story. So really, to me, this is a complete movie. Yes, it leaves on a cliffhanger, but when we see the heroes win in the movie, that's like, all right, complete story arc, boom, your heroes have won, that is a movie. But since we see the villain win, I don't know if people are registering that as, oh, well, that's an incomplete movie. The heroes didn't win,
Well,
Joe.
it's not the first time in Hollywood that we have seen a movie end with the villain on a cliffhanger type ending scenario.
And I know exactly where you're going with
this. So I mean, if you even look at the Star Wars franchise, for example, just saying, there's many times though in film and cinematography where we have seen the villain capture the limelight at the final shots of the film.
Yep.
And that is not to say that. How does this always end? Well, it typically always ends with our hero or heroes in this aspect coming and rising up on the scene and saving the day. Now, in terms of Infinity War, if you stayed for the end scene of the last credits, you already know what's getting ready to happen in May 2019.
Yeah.
You know that Captain Marvel is going to be coming on the scene, and you know beyond the shadow of a doubt that something has happened. There's no particular strange reason that only the core Avengers were remaining. Did you notice that?
Yeah. The ones that we started with. And the line that I found really intriguing, and Joe, I think this is going to be a good outlet for us to kind of talk about what we think is going to happen in Avengers 4. So the line that got me is when Doctor Strange told Tony, this was the only way. I mean, we're in the end game now. He had to give Thanos the stone to save Tony's life because he knew by doing that was the one out of how many possibilities? 14 million?
14,
something
4
like
million?
that?
I don't know how many.
An insane amount. Yeah.
And so I think having played that out and having known what the only outcome is, Doctor Strange, mind you, one of the disintegrated individuals knew that the only way to really save Earth and some of the heroes and everything else was to forfeit the Soul Stone. Well, not the Time Stone, rather.
Yeah.
That was in his amulet, the Amulet Megado. So, having played that out, he knew in advance what was getting ready to happen. And he probably foreseen Captain Marvel and maybe members of the Nova Corps, who knows,
maybe
coming on scene and doing their thing. So there's so many speculation. There's so much going on going into Infinity War Part 2, which we don't even know the title of that yet. But having seen the end nugget, the end scene, we know, if you know anything about comic books, or if you've ever read anything with Captain Marvel in it, you know that she is cosmic. You know that she has amazing abilities. And so it's no strange reason that we have seen and reported Samuel L. Jackson on the set
Yeah.
of Captain Marvel.
Yes.
And so we already know there's going to be a direct tie-in with S.H.I.E.L.D., and it's filmed in the 80s, is it not? It's like a retro
late
80s.
80s, early 90s.
Something like that.
And the fact that we're getting not just Nick Fury, but Agent Coulson back. I mean, we're getting heroes back that we know and love. And here's my thing about the next movie that really kind of gets to me. So I've been... And I hate doing this, but I've been looking at the behind-the-scenes pics for the fourth movie.
Here we go.
And I know it's a difficult thing to kind of conjure up, but here's the pictures that I've been seeing.
Okay.
So to me, they are recreating the Battle of New York with an older Tony Stark, because he comes in and he has grayish, blondish hair. He has his hair that he has now.
Wow.
Yet Steve Rogers is in his Avengers uniform, and Paul Rudd as Ant-Man is there. So are we looking at a time travel element, Joe? Are we looking at potentially, and here's another thing I thought of, what if Ant-Man and the Wasp, and potentially Hank Pym, are in the, what's the tiny...
Microverse.
The microverse, when the snap happens, so they don't disintegrate. That's a possibility. What if that's their way to keep them from disintegrating? And then, of course, Hawkeye is one of the few that kind of stays alive, because he's going to have a storyline.
Maybe at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, they are trapped in the microverse, which leads into Infinity War Part 2.
The ultimate tie-in. Or, oh my god, dude,
my brain is like blowing up.
I was thinking about this the other day. What if at the end of Ant-Man and the Wasp, there's a post-credit scene of maybe returning from the microverse, and Paul Rudd seeing his daughter fade to dust.
Dude, that's tragic.
Dude.
That's tragic, yo.
Come on, we got a fun, nice little heist movie with the same characters back. Did you see that trailer? It's so funny, haha. At the end of the movie, his daughter disintegrates. What do you... Marvel.
Could happen.
Come on, man.
It could happen.
That would blow my mind. I'm trying to figure out how time travel is going to play
The microverse, though, if we recall back the original Wasp, which is Hank Pym's wife, was trapped in the microverse, and I believe that they're on a journey in this one to be able to retract her and find her.
Yep.
And so, when they go into the microverse, they discover a world within a world. It's a microcellular level.
Yes.
And if you remember the flashback scene when he first goes in, Paul Rudd's character goes into the microverse, it's just like vortex after vortex after wormhole after wormhole. And so he's literally going through the fabric of space-time continuum as he's traveling. And in that, if he gets trapped into that, and so does the Wasp. Look at that.
Oh my god. Joe, you're blowing my mind here, man.
You're welcome.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
And a lot of people are looking at Ant-Man and the Wasp like, this isn't going to play in. Let's watch Captain Marvel. But, I mean, what Joe just said and what we're talking about, Ant-Man and the Wasp could play in heavily to the next Infinity
War.
There's
only really, like, if you think about it, 2 or 3 MCU films that are coming out before Infinity War, which is Captain Marvel. We got Ant-Man and the Wasp this summer. And is there another one?
Well, the rumor was Spider-Man 2 was going to be coming out next July, but I mean, as of right now, Spider-Man's dead.
So there's only two MCU films?
2 MCU films.
Minus the Fox, minus the Deadpool and all that. Yeah. So, interesting.
Yeah,
So Marvel only has a couple of films to tie into the next Infinity War.
Uh-huh.
So they have to drop some nuggets. They have to drop some truth.
They have no choice.
Yeah.
They have no choice. And Captain Marvel, I believe, is going to be one of the most anticipated films of next year, because you drop a nugget like that. And here's my question, too. How does she not age? Because we know she's coming back as Brie Larson, looking like Brie Larson, right? Yeah. So I don't know what they're going to... Is she going to be trapped on a different planet?
In the microverse?
It has to be something like that. She has to be trapped somewhere where she doesn't age. She has to be. Otherwise...
Or maybe her cosmic powers doesn't allow her to age.
I didn't think about that.
You think about Silver Surfer, he doesn't age.
Thor doesn't age.
Well, he's like, how many hundreds of years old?
What do you say, 1,500?
Yeah. Jinx
him with a kiss on the lips.
Every kiss begins with K.
Yeah.
All right, hashtag weird. It's really strange, though. You start thinking about it. There's so many possibilities that can play out. And with Captain Marvel coming out, and then Ant-Man and the Wasp just literally in a couple of months, Marvel doesn't have a lot of legroom to be able to drop some spoilers or drop some tidbits of the continuing story.
Yeah.
So, as far as I know, that's pretty much it. Captain Marvel's March?
Captain Marvel's in March.
And then July is Ant-Man and the Wasp. And there's nothing in November? Are we missing? I feel like we're missing one.
That's it. Well, it was supposed to be X-Men Dark Phoenix, which that's Fox. But other than that, I mean, we have literally, and that got pushed. Yeah. So that's next year now. So
And
I
Guardians 3 is 2020, so that
2020.
doesn't even play into. Okay. Well, that's interesting. I'd love to hear what you guys like to think about this and what you guys have to. I want to hear what you have to say. Chime in and let us know about the conversation, because Austin and I, we can keep this thing
We've
going.
not stopped.
That's crazy.
We literally decided to start recording a video because we haven't stopped talking about it. And here's what I want to know. Who do you guys think, because we know most likely some of the heroes that disintegrated are going to come back in the next movie. So do we think that there's going to be a sacrifice by our heroes today, say a Captain America or an Iron Man? Because I feel like even if there is a time travel element, something happens, maybe they go back to the past, they change things, they come back, and either Iron Man or Cap, I'm leaning towards Cap, sacrifice themselves for the greater good.
It's almost like the Back to the Future effect.
It really does feel like Back to the
Great Scott, Marty!
It does feel like
it's
Back to
kind of
the
like
Future.
that, though. You change one little thing in Back to the Future 2, and Biff becomes like a Donald Trump character. One little thing.
One thing.
One thing.
Yeah.
And that was Marty McFly's father's death.
Mm-hmm.
But think about it. I mean, so maybe that'll be something like they go back and they change one little thing and Thanos doesn't even exist.
And whatever change happens, it has to stick. Like these deaths that happened before the snap, I want them to stick. I don't want Gamora, Loki, any of them. I don't want them coming back. Even Vision, I don't want them coming back. But I need some sacrifice by our major players in the next one to feel just kind of like their stories have come to an end or feel complete. And that's kind of what I want you guys to comment. Just let us know. Let us know your thoughts, because that's the most important thing. Joe, do you have any final thoughts here, man?
Man, I tell you, I mean, ever since he just landed, like just literally a few hours ago here in Orlando. So he's here in Orlando, Florida. And so we have literally nonstop been talking about Avengers Infinity War all day.
Yeah.
And honestly, if we would have had a live stream going the entire time we were in the car, you guys would have been so entertained.
4 hours.
4 hours. Crazy. But, I mean, it's not 4 hours to our house from the airport.
But just
seriously, it's insane.
Oh, man.
But I do want to hear what you guys have to think and what you guys have to say. And if you guys are comic book readers and avid comic book goers, and you know a little bit about the story of Captain Marvel, you know a little bit about Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet War, and all of that stuff from the 80s and the story arcs, chime in and let us know what you think about it, because even though I read the comics and I've read the comics from the 80s, I also want to get your input into it as well, because you know what? Maybe I'm missing something. And so having you guys chiming in will help us fit the little pieces of the puzzle together. But we can actually spend all night talking about this. We will, probably at some point. We're not sleeping tonight.
No, we're not sleeping.
We're not. It's done.
It's done.
Yeah.
See you guys.
That's it. We're out. All right. Thanks for listening. And my name is Joe at Joseph Burke Arts on the interwebs. You can find me all over Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Joseph Burke Arts. And of course, we have an amazing podcast, which is PopXcast. Yes, you can find it on the web at popxcast.com. And we are also on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter as well at PopXcast.
And be sure to check out all of our shows. I mean, we've been pushing out Avengers content like crazy.
We have 3 episodes of literally Infinity War alone.
Pure Infinity War. On top of this, plus all of the amazing content that we have coming out. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. You are the absolute best. And Joe and I will probably catch you later.
Bye.
See ya.